Hello and welcome to TrishRockTV Interviews with people on purpose, loving life. This is week 12, the final week of the Enlightened Changemakers series. I've been doing interviews over the last couple of months with all of the Enlightened Changemakers featured in the Holistic Bliss magazine for 2020. And it's been amazing. And you can tune into all of these interviews on the podcast or here on the page. But tonight, our beautiful special guest is Juli May, Luxury Bodywork. Juli has moved through 12 years of experiential education and personal awareness of actually feeling her body and freeing her natural breath rhythm. Feeling herself to identify the physical limits developed in her lifetime, as well as those handed down ancestrally, to accept herself as she is. In the acceptance of her habitual muscular tensions, which is physical limits, we'll talk about that tonight, Juli was able to evolve them to work better in her culture, society, and her time. The body, with its personal breath motion, is a pathway to evolving your spiritual, psychological, and emotional self. Juli says, I was ready to be pushed, and the universe provided the most supportive environment to allow for massive changes. My lessons in relationship with myself were at a stage where it was time to be active in relationship with others. The brilliance of 2020 has been a safe place to spread my wings and enjoy the reflection that my choices have brought forward. She says, having discovered personal security by unraveling her physical tension, provided her with a stable foundation, and her soul is safe, grounded to go exploring her dreams. Super excited to have you on the show, Juli. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. You read that beautifully. Yeah, it was great. Thank you.
It's so fascinating, such a fascinating journey, and I can't wait to get into it. Tell us, where did this all start for you, this body experience, I guess it is, isn't it? And this discovering self. Where did that all start for you?
I think it's been there a lifelong understanding or natural understanding. But when I was in my early 20s, I had a massage therapist in New Zealand. And at the time, I was in my early 20s, I swear she was about 70 years old. I could be wrong. But we lived in a place that hosted an Ironman competition every year. And I knew that regardless of her age, during that time, she would massage for like 9 hours a day. She was a smoker.
Wow.
Exactly. Wow. And she was great. She was always the same. She was never tired. She was always the same. And I would question her about this sort of thing because, everybody else works through the day and they get exhausted and they get run down. And, she said it was in her training and that she was never able to fix a body. She was only able to show a body what it could do. And so that was nearly 10 years before I actually started doing bodywork. So, and that stuck with me for a long time.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's so true. It doesn't matter what healing modality. None of us can heal anybody. We're actually just holding a space for the body and the person to heal.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Yeah. And so it's been a real journey for you the last 10 or 11 years of self-discovery.
Yes. So I started doing bodywork, I think, when I was 29, and I didn't realise it was probably the same sort of training that Isabel, the lady in New Zealand, had. I didn't make that connection for probably a couple of years, actually. But I ended up on the same path that she had been on and doing the same work that she had been on. So I was really able to feel that and bring in that, well, I can't fix anybody. All I can do is be here doing my thing, and if they get it, they get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the work that you do, we'll get into that in a minute, but it's about pushing the energy around.
Yeah, it is. It's about, I guess it's about bringing people's attention to where it is, I get in that respect, if you're looking at speaking about energy, where it's stuck. So you bring their attention to it, and you move on. And at that point, they become aware of it, and it's that point is where they can choose. Okay, do I let this go, or am I not ready?
Okay, and this has been the journey you've had for the last decade of finding where all your blocks were and releasing.
Very much so, and a more honest journey you probably can't have. So it has been wonderful.
Yeah. Such a small amount of the population, a small percentage actually is brave enough to do the work of freeing ourselves of all of that energy. So sometimes, for anybody watching, sometimes when, you're caught up in the communities that we're all like-minded, we think that we see other people and think, oh, it must be easy. But there's such a small amount of the population that actually does it, and it's not easy.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
And that's and sometimes so frustrating, and that is the reality of it. But it's those points where you get, you come through and you make the changes.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been there too, and sometimes you get to that point where it's like, oh, how much more do I need to do on that? Or you just, when you think something's gone, oh, there it is again. And, it's challenging.
Yeah, it is. It's patience creating.
It is. But you know what? You would be the same as me. That calling is there, and you can't ignore it, no matter what the roller coaster is. It just keeps calling you and inviting you to get back in that little cart and go back up the roller coaster.
I think once you start down that path, you can't actually walk away. You can take a break, but if you've felt that and you have that understanding, you can't walk away, because it just you know what the options are then.
Yeah.
And you shut it completely down. And I don't think, well, for me that's not possible. For some people it's probably possible, but yeah.
Yeah, don't worry, I still have people look at me and think, you haven't given up yet. No. So Julie, in my work, I really do talk a lot about being grounded, and as people's intuitive abilities grow and they've got these branches going out this way, it's really important to be grounded. Yeah. So I know that that's been part of your work too. So how is being grounded, how's that impacted by the state of the physical body?
Oh, well, I guess being grounded for me is a feeling of what you're feeling as you're resting on the earth. So be it standing, sitting, lying down. So you've got the earth underneath you, which holds you, and then you have gravity resting on top of you, which holds you on the earth. So when you're resting between those two things, those two forces, for me, being grounded is having that really quality, having an understanding of the quality with which you're touching the earth, or you're resting on the earth. Now,
okay.
Yeah, so it's such a great big area, but even just the other day, I was playing with the posture and the placement of my ribs. Now, that's something that I've worked over years from as a child. You know, we taught to stand a certain way and stand upright, which is shoulders back, chest out. Now, I've, over the last couple of years, softened that down. I've dropped a lot of tension out of the ribs, and they're hanging now as opposed to being held up. When you are holding up and there's a tension, whether you know you're doing it or not, and there's a tension that's holding your bones up, then there's a limit to how grounded you can be, because you're carrying your bones around with muscles as opposed to propelling yourself around with bones. So it's about that full release of body weight into the ground.
Interesting. Yeah. I guess it would make a difference, because if you're holding like that, you're kind of holding yourself above the ground, aren't you, rather than...
Yeah. So muscles, you know, they contract, and if you think, well, when you're walking around, the muscles are contracting to lift, or, you know, to clear the ground.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be under tension, they shouldn't be under force, but they're being lifted to clear the ground and their legs. Now, so if you have tight muscles, they're all shortening, which is in a way, and you know what you're saying with the connection out. If you have muscles which are shortened or habitually tight, then they're pulling both directions. So they're pulling everything down and everything up. There's this, and then they build through the nervous system, they build a lock, and so then you're locked in that position constantly.
Yeah.
It's a really, and it's once it's a good understanding to have. Makes it real.
Exactly, and grounding is so important to remain centered, to make decisions, to be here as a human. And that just really makes sense to me, because there are times where no matter what I do, I just can't feel centered. So now I'll be able to kind of notice if I'm tense. The times when I'm most grounded is when I deliberately am more in a meditative state and I let go.
Yeah, exactly. And so with the natural body flow and my movement classes that I teach, it's about, and it works very closely with the breath, and it's about finding that release, understanding how to find that security in every movement.
Yeah.
So it's not about, it becomes not a practice that you have to do as such, but it's a motion and a movement through life that you have at every point. And so, for me, I guess one of the biggest things was, I was in a relationship and there was a lot of verbal fighting and arguing, and I was part of it. I would argue and I would fight. And I decided at one stage, no, this is enough. I don't want this anymore. I don't want fighting in my life anymore. And so I thought, I also come from a family, well, if you're watching, who don't talk. So if something that they don't like something, they just shut up and walk away. And so there was that option. And I thought to myself, no, I can't do that, because I don't think that works. From what I've seen, that doesn't work either. And so so when I decided to stop fighting, I thought, I have to be able to stand here and talk back. And I used this understanding with the breath and the weight in the floor, and I was standing at the time, I remember, and the feeling of my feet on the floor, where the weight was situated, how the breath was moving, and I didn't adjust the breath, I just observed the breath. And it was in that moment of observation of myself, where I was still involved in the argument, not arguing or being aggressive myself, but I was involved. I was able to notice my body soften and shift, and I could communicate calmly in the face of aggression. And I thought, well, there you go. that's me now. I've got that.
Yeah. That's an incredible skill for all situations, isn't it? Because it's when we're ungrounded with those lower chakras that are emotions. We're ungrounded is just like, and you just blast out of an emotional reaction. But to have that stability, you would have just been acting from a nice place, not reacting to it all.
Yes, and it was a completely different. I felt completely different in it.
Yeah.
And so I was able to do that. I was able to use that, and now I feel like I don't have to be so conscious of making those shifts in me when I'm faced with that sort of situation.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. And so this is one of the things you help other people with too. Yeah.
Well, this is one of the reasons why I think it's so amazing. It's not just the physical, houses all of those things, like I said, the lower chakras, and then how you express yourself out of that is coming from how your health. So if everything's locked up and defensive, then how you express it's going to be aggressive.
Yeah, it's so important. It really is. And so that leads me to the next question about, how can unraveling the physical tensions, we've just heard of an example with you, how it really changed that situation. How does it really impact the emotional, spiritual and psychological selves as well? That must really be so satisfying for you to watch people unravel those areas.
It is. And, with my massage training and my bodywork training, I was always taught, to mind my own business. So where you find those stagnant energies or you find a lump or bump, you touch it and you move on. So it's that person's ability to, or opportunity to make change, to let it go if they're ready. Now, that's the same thing you take into the movement classes. So people are then able to, and it's without someone touching them. So it's a very personal journey, and it's a very safe journey. Without someone touching them, people can start to access and understand, feel their tension, and they can delve into the emotions of psychological and spiritual as much as they want, because that will pop up with them. However, just the softening of that tissue and the bringing the body into alignment creates a softening of that memory or situation that has created this protective pattern. And and so you do see people just soften and gain a better stability in themselves. And it's not about letting go of anything, it's about just knowing you're safe.
Yeah, because that brings up a lot of fear when people have got those old memories and old beliefs and old stories that they're really holding on to, usually for fear of unraveling something else. And so having that softness, that sounds amazing. I'm just picturing the beautiful look of peace on people's face when these realizations are coming up.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you get. You see people and they just have more of themselves.
Yeah.
And it's not a scary thing for them at that stage because they're safe. Like the positions are always, on a really practical level, the positions that we work in are always where the nervous system feels safe. So it's a real physical nervous system understanding, and then in that you can have that ability to explore yourself.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
So your body work is hands-on and hands-off? It feels like a combination of both?
Yes. So, it was bodywork or massage predominantly was how I was trained, and then we started doing the aligned movement, we were calling it at the time, and which moved into natural body flow. And through doing that myself and getting that understanding of how the physical body functions as a structure, really unemotional, really practical stuff, but how it actually functions as a structure and what I had and what I wasn't able to do freely, it deepened my bodywork awareness. So now when I'm doing the hands-on bodywork, I have this really different understanding of how the body works and how to get movement into it, and for people who need that, and then also to talk people through, to guide them through meditation, for want of a better word, is what we do when they're doing the movement classes. So yeah, it's a really just to guide people through how to feel this and not do anything with it, like just be okay with it.
Yeah.
It's both. Yeah.
That's amazing. I haven't really known about this work before, so I'm really fascinated. And you work with the natural breath with this as well, Julie. So what is the personal natural breath rhythm? Tell us a little bit about that.
So this is a really, it's the breath you have when you're not doing anything and when the habits that you've built up over your life have been dropped away.
Now, okay. So everyone who's watching will be going, oh, okay. They'll be breathing, thinking.
It's a really hard one because, people are always saying, oh, just breathe. Well, you know what? We do it all the time. We don't need to think about it. The body is designed so perfectly that we do not need to think about breathing. The problem is, and this comes back to the nervous system and that feeling of safety again, is over years. And I love this one. As children, we're taught to stand up straight. So it's, shoulders back, stand up straight. And there's all this tension here. And now, as that tension locks in, the nervous system then locks into the sympathetic nervous system. So you fake a smile to feel better. Fake a smile to get those smile and happy hormones going. Well, if you fake the anxiety posture or the fight-flight posture, you're going to get those hormones going. So, the body then creates these muscle habits around keeping you upright, based on these, standing up straight and holding your stomach in and all of these things we do for looking good or looking proud or whatever we're looking at the time. Yeah. So now, the fight-flight nervous system response, when the body is locked in that, then the breath is high. So people, they're not breathing completely into their lungs without force, without really driving it. So there's a lot of yawning, there's a lot of sighing, there's a lot of you get short of breath, so you have another breath, there you go. And unfortunately, when you have that locked in, then everything you do over that to get a deep breath is, you've got a force which is holding things, and then you apply a force to get something more. And so in that, you're actually creating new muscle habits. So there's these layers. So the natural breath gets hidden.
Yeah, and a naturopath or a beautiful naturopathic doctor told me once, I think with some yogic system she was teaching me, was so many people breathe so shallow. So I guess that's part of it, isn't it? And the shallow breathing is not helping the organs the way that it's...
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, this is such a great topic, but it doesn't help the organs. Now, the problem being is that it's a stress response in the body, and so you've got this stress response, and then you go and you do, and I'm not saying any breath technique is bad, but what I'm saying is if you're starting from a stress response and you are using force or direction to create a relaxed breath, how relaxed can that be?
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to force you to relax.
And that's it. You've got force, and then you've got more force, and then you've got more force, and so the work that we do, and this is really hard for a lot of people to kind of think, oh well, this won't do anything. So the work we do is we don't apply a force. We find what we've got, we identify it, and through the positions of safety, it drops the tension away. And so it actually exposes a natural breath.
I love that. That's a far more powerful way than force.
Well, it's just such a more sustainable way, I guess. Like there's no effort required, so there's no energy use.
Yes. Yeah.
And then as you drop away all those things, less effort is required for everything that you do, because breathing has become natural and complete and easy.
It's fabulous. So people come to see you and you help them in these ways, but you're really giving them skills for life, aren't you? So that when they actually leave your office or your space, they've learned how to breathe, they've learned how to relax the body, they've learned how to ground, they've learned how to be in tune with things so that they can accept where a block is and what it is, and perhaps understand more about releasing it. So you're really giving people tools for life. It's very empowering, isn't it?
Look, I love it, and I think it has made, when I now go and get either a massage treatment, acupuncture, go and see a kinesiologist, and they say, oh, this is blocked or that's blocked. And I always ask questions. What are you working on? What area of the body is that? What's happening with it? And then when you go home and you're moving through your day and you're lying down on the floor, you're doing practice and you're lying on your floor, you can start to make those correlations. Okay, well, they've worked on this. What do I feel? And you're like, okay, there you go. They've worked on my adrenals because they're fatigued. When I lie on the floor, I can't feel the middle of my back touching the floor. So there's muscle tension holding that forward or holding it up off the floor. So then you're like, okay, well, I can see why that's happening now. That's understandable. And it's something I can do. I can acknowledge and then leave alone so it can sort itself out.
It's very empowering. It's really such an awareness, isn't it? And it's brilliant. You must just feel so blessed to really see the changes in people when you're working with them.
I do. It is really nice actually to see, and there are people who've been in chronic pain since they were 6 years old, from the accident, and you get them through, and they come out, they're like, oh, I don't have any pain. And you think, well, that's, at that point, they're desperate. That man was, I think, in his 50s, and so it means it's given him something that he can use every day.
Yeah.
It then means he's not relying on someone to fix him.
Yes.
All the time. He's gaining something. Every time he comes to a massage now, he gains something that he can use in his daily practice. And that, to me, that's the most important thing. That's healing,
It is, and that's a lot of my work as well, is empowering people to really find the answers and find the way within themselves, and not to stop seeing people to get help, but to stop relying on the outside to fix everything, because our body will heal itself if it's given the right opportunity.
Exactly. The body is just designed, all it wants to do is be in balance and be healthy. It's like everything in nature. We're just nature. We're not that special.
The trouble is we just keep blocking the flow. Oh, well, I'll go another way. No, block that flow too. I'll go another way. No, block that one.
That's so true. And I just love it. Like you talk about spirituality things, and for me, I love that. Like I find this really, it's helpful for me in every way. But I guess when I go and talk to certain people, they rule out the body, and they focus. That the focus is completely on the consciousness or the spirit, or and they just the body's not important. Well, the body is why we're here, having this spirit, our spirit or our soul or whatever you want to look at it, why it's having this adventure and why we're here. So the body is important. It houses us.
It does. It's our vessel here. The body is very important, and all the things associated with being a human here on this planet are very important too. And it's really that union of both. And there are people very extreme in the spiritual, and there's people very extreme in the body as well. Finding a balance, isn't it?
That's true. And you look like the extremists among us teach us amazing things. So it's but yeah.
So Julie, so how do people? I've got your Facebook page here. That's the best place for people to connect with you at Maya Wellbeing.
Yeah, I'm still. I've got my WordPress blog, mayawellbeing.blog now, and I'm trying to get all of my information down in specific topics into blog pages, which is really helping me to clarify things. And then what's been really good is that through the blogs I can link them to the other blogs so that you can see how just endlessly cyclical this whole thing is. And so that's a really good place. Oh, I like it. That's a really good place at the moment. But yeah,
that's a good place to start. Well, this year is a 4-year. We're all restructuring, so it's restructuring things into the right compartments and getting it all in order. So we're all doing that. So people so people can connect with you there. Are you back working one-on-one now?
Yes. So I've got the classes. I've got a little room set up in the studio for the classes. So for people who want to do the mind movement classes, I can do that, and that can also be done via Zoom or online. And I've also got my massage room set up for really at the moment just essential cases.
Beautiful. Oh, beautiful. So people can join your class online through Zoom. So that's great.
Yeah, I'm mainly just working one-on-one at the moment with the classes. That's what I'm finding I'm getting the most benefit from, and so I will be setting up classes and things. I would like to set up classes, I would say, but at the moment, I think one-on-one or like 2 people at the max amount of time, so that people can really focus.
Beautiful.
What they're getting out of the class. Yeah.
Beautiful. So if someone does live close to you, whereabouts do you live?
I'm in Gympie, South Gympie.
So if somebody's in driving distance, they can come and see you anyway. Otherwise, they can join one of the Zoom meetings and perhaps organise down the track to have. It's interesting now with what's happened in the last month or so, because I've always been online, so distance has never really been an issue, but it's opened up a whole lot of new ways for people to work with people they normally wouldn't have because they don't live in the area. So, it just means that people who want to reach out and work with you, it doesn't matter where they live now, they can connect with you some way via Zoom and do some of that movement with you.
And the thing that I've always loved about this, and I noticed doing the classes myself, is that it's like you get the same feeling you get from having a massage, but you've done it all yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that is the best thing ever,
Yeah.
It's at your fingertips.
And it sounds a lot more relaxing than an online gym or aerobics class.
Well, totally agree with you. And point, because when you soften, and this will really spin a few people out, but when you actually soften your muscles off and you get that weight release into the ground and your bones are holding you, you have the strength of your bones. And that is effortless, and it is like huge compared to what you can do with your muscles.
That is really interesting.
I know. And so people are like, oh, you know, I have to be fit and I have to be strong. And it's like, well, you know, it is effortless strength, endless energy, like totally sustainable, and comfort. You're comfortable.
Yeah. Sounds amazing.
No, and so people, you know, different way of looking at it.
Oh, it's been such a pleasure having you here, and you're also one of the Enlightened Changemakers in Holistic Bliss, and really getting your message out to, you know, a lot more people, and who maybe haven't heard of the Bodywork before. So it's so great to have you in this group, and thank you so much for coming on and being part of my show. It's been fascinating.
It has been good. And thank you for having me. I think this is really a real treat for me, actually.
Oh, thank you. It's been fascinating. And for everybody listening, please reach out to Julie. Head over and like her Facebook page at Maya Wellbeing. We'll also pop it in the comments. If you're here on the replay, we'll pop it in the comments and the link, and so you can just click on it and go and like her page and find out all about this fascinating work. All right. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'll see you next week on TrishRockTV.
Thank
Bye
you.
for now. Thank you.